Okay, so the first question today comes from Aranja. Hi, Tad. Thanks so much for taking the time today. I've been following your work for a while and find myself trying to implement as best as I can because what you share really resonates with me. As for my question today, I don't solve, I don't help solve one specific problem, but I have a certain clientele I focus on, and I'm wondering if you could look at my website, if it's compelling or specific enough. Maybe you could take a look. Yeah, absolutely. And Aranja, where are you zooming in from?
I'm in Germany,
Oh,
so nighttime over here. Yeah,
well, amazing. Where in Germany?
Berlin, the place to be, I think. But
This is
yeah,
it's what I've heard. It's what I've heard. I just flew through Frankfurt on the way back home from England, and but I get the sense Berlin would be cooler. All right, so I'm going to do a screen share, and we're just going to take a gander, and I'll let you know what I think. Okay,
thank you.
cool. Unconventional counseling for unconventional people grabs my attention. Right, helping deep thinkers, travelers, and idealists deal with their unique challenges in a normie world. I like this in a normie world. Um, okay, so it's got my attention. It's got me curious, which is good. And the next step, there's three roles of marketing. And it's these three in this order. First role of marketing is to get people's attention. Second is we've got to filter, meaning got to see if this is a fit. And third, we have to lower the risk of them taking the first step. So your website has to do all three. Now, getting attention is Aranja did it. How'd she do it? She showed up on this call, gave me the link, and now I'm looking at it. But also within the website, there is something attention grabbing about I mean, it's a beautiful uh, homepage so far. So it's got my attention, but attention and curiosity are different than relevance. Yeah, so that's important because when we get into filtering, there are three levels of filtering, right? There's attention, filtering, lower the risk. Within the level of filtering, there are three levels: relevance, credibility, and value. Those are the three filters. If you think of it like a water filter, it's the three levels of the what clean the water. So then what do we get at the end of that filtering process? Hopefully an ideal client. Nobody gets through that who's not a good fit. And so I would say number one is achieved so far. I'm curious. Now it's the relevance question. So normie world, it's a particular language, it's kind of the muggle thing. So I have some sense, but I don't know entirely what you mean by it. For example, I've seen normies used for people who are not into spirituality, who are not into magical things. I've also seen it used for people who don't understand the grand conspiracies of the world. Normies are people who just watch the news and they don't question anything and etc. So I've seen it used in wildly different contexts. So this alone doesn't quite let me know if it's, which is okay, just above the full boost scroll. Okay, hi, I'm Aranja. I do a lot of things. Most of them have to do with death, drugs, and delving deep. Nice alliteration. Okay, psychological, systemic counselor, death doula, kink and BDSM coach, somatic trauma therapist, psychedelic integration counselor. So it's interesting. So in this case, we're kind of going with, okay, so there's island A, there's island B, there's the boat, and we got the captain of the boat. So we're kind of looking at the boat and the captain of the boat here. Um, so if somebody is looking for these things, and particularly is looking for a combination of these things, or somebody's into all these things, they're going to be thrilled. The relevance will be very high. What I don't see yet is an island A, an island B. I don't see a problem. I don't see a result. It's not that there has to be one necessarily directly overtly, but it either has to be that there is a problem that people urgently want solved, or that you're offering something for which there is a big demand and a low supply, which happens sometimes. Sometimes you're the only person in your area that's doing a certain kind of work and it's in demand and no one else is doing it, and you can do well with that. Can I bribe my way into your inbox? Get my favorite tool for getting clarity. Clarity about what? I don't know. So that's a little fuzzy for me. Stay for my musings on life, death, and the human condition. Great. Okay, here we are. Yes, counseling. Get some support from somebody who actually gets you. No more masking, no appeasing, no explaining yourself, no more self-censorship. If you don't fit in the dominant group, I don't know how you're defining dominant group. Again, that could mean white people. That could mean men. That could mean people who've gone along with the dominant mainstream narrative. That could mean in some groups, in some communities, in like in the States, some people would read that and say, ah, she's talking about the left wing and how they dominate the universities and the media and the most of the major institutions. Other people in the States would look at that and say, clearly, they're talking about the right wing, right? And they'd have their own case for that. So you see what I'm saying? I don't exactly know what you mean. So you may have struggled to find um, support that understands you, truly sees you, can adequately engage with your less mainstream sides without seeing them as a problem. Now, less mainstream sides, when I see that, it makes me think about the kink and BDSM stuff. I mean, that's sort of what I assume you're talking about there. But so this is important, is whenever people are looking at our site or our materials, they're making certain assumptions. If we're not crystal clear about it, they're going to come up with their own conclusions. Like if you say, oh, I'm a Tantra teacher, there's certain people just like, oh, you're a sex worker, they don't know. And it's either they don't know what you mean by tantra, or worse, they do. They think they understand and they make all these assumptions. Okay. So the more culturally different, eccentric, or taboo your history, interest, or temperament, lifestyle are, the harder it is to find practitioners who won't see deviations from the norm as illness, maladaptive behavior, or a problematic mindset. So again, you're sort of hinting at it here, but I don't totally get it. Are you talking about anti-vaxxers? Are you talking about people into the kink scene? Are you talking about vegans? Are you talking, there's all sorts of ways that people uh, veer off from the norm, and I'm not convinced that you mean all of them. Yeah,
Probably not all of them, but I guess I kept it open because I thought I wanted to, yeah, keep it open for different ways of feeling different.
sure. Yes, I
Yeah.
get it. And okay, well, so let me just say that, let's do this. In the chat, so what comes up for you when you read Arjuna's words about, what was the word here? Um, okay, so in the chat, I'm going to invite you to answer this question. So what comes up for you when you read Arjuna's words, I should say words, about the more culturally different, eccentric, taboo, your history, interest, temperament, lifestyle, all that stuff? When you hear this conversation about dominant this, dominant that, everything you've heard so far, who do you assume? What's your best guess of who Arjuna would, like, who would be perfect for Aranja? Who would be like, if you were going to say, ah, I know what you're talking about people who are into this. You're talking about people who see the world this way. Just from what we've seen, what are your very best guesses? I'd love everyone to make a guess. Don't worry about it being wrong or off. Great, everybody. Keep them coming. This is excellent. We've got underrepresented people. Okay, that's not much clearer. Punk leaning, heavily tattooed, submissive. Okay. Uh, Open-minded people who want to explore life. That's not that much clear. Unvaccinated people, conspiracists, people on the autism spectrum, ADHD, different brain functionality, people who are on the fringe of society and feel unseen. Again, I'm still like, what fringes? In what way? Anyone feeling excluded, pedophiles. Okay, I don't think, is that an honest guess? Could be though, maybe, I guess. Adults with career income who want to connect with others that are sexually experimental. I actually like that she uses the word non-mainstream. That doesn't make me think about kink at all. I identify with not being mainstream. I don't like the word dominant. Okay. I'm just asking who you think she's talking about. So, okay. Is that it? Oh, you got more guesses than you people. I know you got more guesses of what specifically. Like, imagine I'm saying you are all entrusted to get her a person who's a perfect client. And let's be specific about the kinds of groups. I get it, people who don't fit in, all that. That's fine. That's a general statement. I'm asking you to name a specific subgroup, a specific non-dominant um, psychographic, a really particular scene. Black sheep, again, that's a general thing. Elder gay kinksters. There we go. Thank you, Nova. Okay, maybe people who are in a career pathway that's less known, for example, somatics. Those who want to do a drug trip, independent thinkers, underage trans, bohemians, homesteaders. This is what I'm talking about. You'll see why I'm doing this. Feel free to keep them coming. Specific groups, the more specific, the better. Whatever you write down, I should know instantly if I'm in that group or not. Neurodiverse entrepreneurs, incel, right, involuntary celibate males. Sexually submissive something. Okay, yeah, people who are identified as sexually submissive. Okay. Tortured intellectuals. All right. Neurodivergent folks comes up again. Fantastic, everyone. Okay. So, Aranja, I'm curious which of these um, jump out to you. If you had to pick five of these that jump out to you as like, yes, and two or three that are like, no, I definitely don't mean that. Are there ones that
Okay.
are very clear for you? And what I'm asking you for is your ideal. Like, I understand all of them or some of them, you'd be like, yeah, I could work with you. But I'm saying, like, who are the ones that light you up that when you see it, you're like, yes, exactly. I mean, something like that. So, what have you got?
Mm. So, well, first of all, thanks everyone for your input. I found it really cool to read because it's actually, so this is not completely the answer to your question, but I would say yes to all of them except the conspiracy theorists, pedophiles, and incels. And those were actually all the people I was thinking of when I made the website. However, if I had to pick three, I would say the tortured intellectuals. Um, yeah, I like the people looking to live with their king, who are bored, feeling disconnected. I like the independent thinkers, and I like the trans neurodivergent people.
Great. This is so I'd invite you to copy this list.
Mhm.
And something that can help just for everybody, something that can help a lot on a website is when if you use a general umbrella term, and this is so important to get, there are terms that we use because it keeps it open, because we get what it means, but it doesn't translate. Not everyone else knows what it means. People don't necessarily know what we mean by dominant culture or culturally different or eccentric. What's eccentric for one may not be another. So if you can say, it's the kind of such as frame. If you're in this general category, such as boom, 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 like I've got a special place in my heart for people who are boom, 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 bullet points, it helps a lot. It helps clarify what your words mean because otherwise, what you run the risk of is people who are in those three groups you named that you don't want saying, finally, I found a safe place. Great. Ranja's going to totally get it about Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum. I'm finally going to be able to unload about Bill Gates and the, Agenda 2021 and the, thank God, she's really going to get it. And maybe she doesn't. Maybe this isn't her thing. And then she's like, oh, this is a bummer for both of us. So this is the filtering. And so sometimes you can say, you could even list those things. You could say, look, what I don't mean by this are these things. So if you're in some of the following groups, that's not who I'm talking about, which is a real kindness to people. Saves everybody time, drama and disappointment. All right. I'm here for those of you who feel different somehow. All right. Feeling different can take many forms. Yeah. So here, what I'm seeing is there's a lot of these umbrella terms. right, different, sort of normal lives, difficult people. Okay, activists, that gets a little clearer. Big thinkers, whistleblowers, okay. Um, Nomads, migrants, expats, okay, you would know if you're that. Whose cultural background and migratory life has left them feeling like a minority. That's a little clearer. Um, Many feel othered through repeated encounters with racism, sexism, homophobia. Okay, there we go. So this gets a little more specific down here. And I think I'm just craving to see all that a little bit sooner. But also like weirdos, dreamers, misfits, it's those can really mean different things in different communities. So generally great. I love the direction. I mean, this really is a interesting headline there. And the sooner we can get to here's what I mean by my words, the sooner that people can opt out. The purpose of our homepage is not to get people to buy from us. The purpose of the homepage is to get rid of almost everybody. It's a better way to think about it. How could I write this homepage in such a way that, yes, my ideal client would say, oh, this is me, but also anyone who's not my ideal client would just, I'm out of here. I'm gone. They don't even have to look at the other pages. They can just tell from the homepage. So, Aranja, bless you for your work. Thanks for playing along. I hope that helped.
Thank you so much. This was really helpful. Thank you.
Good, good.